What's good, YouTube? Fight fans all over the world. It's your boy, Real Talk Boxing. We back at you again. So check this out. I want to do a video on Jake Paul versus KSI. Who wins? Who wins that fight? Now, first off, I'm talking about, these fighters that nobody necessarily wants to talk about. You don't really see other YouTubers, boxing YouTubers, talking about Jake Paul, Logan Paul, KSI, YouTubers fighting over other YouTubers. It's uncharted territory, but I'm not afraid to dive in and give it a whirl. I mean, that's just what we do over here at Real Talk Boxing. If you don't want to talk about it, I'll talk about it because I think it's interesting. Being a YouTuber who used to box back in the day, way back in the day, I'm an old gray man now. I have a lot of interest in it. So, who would win that fight? Well, we can't really analyze that fight until we talk about their previous fights. So, bear with me. This may be a lengthy video. Hopefully you guys can stay tuned in long enough to, get my prediction on that. First of all, let's talk about KSI. KSI last two fights were with Logan Paul, Jake Paul's brother. So, the first fight, 6 rounds, headgear. I honestly think Logan got robbed in that fight. I think Logan won that fight by split decision. Shouldn't have been a draw. Logan came out and he won the first round easily. But Logan started taunting a whole lot. Fights with his hands down. He'll connect 2 or 3 shots. And then he steps back and admires his work. Talks trash. And pretty much made the fight a lot harder than what it should have been. Neglected the body. Both of the fighters, the first fight, neglected the body actually in both of the fights. You didn't see many body shots whatsoever. But KSI is really, he's kind of reckless in there. He's wild, looping punches. But he's in shape. He's in shape, he's scrappy, and he has some tenacity about him. He doesn't quit. And neither did Logan. But they both got a little tired in that first fight. More so Logan. Logan has all the attributes to beat someone like KSI. The reach, the height, the size. He just doesn't know how to put it together. And honestly, I believe Jake is a much better fighter than his brother Logan. So the first fight was a lot of back and forth. Like I said, Logan made it a lot harder than what it should have been. A lot harder. KSI's footwork, he needs to throw straighter punches. I know that much. But he's scrappy. I'll give him that. So the first fight was a draw. Now the second fight that came in, another 6-round fight, and it was actually a professional fight. No headgear. Both of them looked a little better technically. And I stress a little bit. They looked a little better technically. The difference in between KSI and the first fight versus the second fight, he started a lot faster. There was a lot more tenacity. He fought with urgency in the second fight. He clearly got a knockdown on Logan Paul, I do believe. It was a punch caught on the ear, slashed behind the head a little bit, but it rocked Logan and it dropped him. But they didn't score the knockdown. Logan, for some reason, was fighting with his hands low. He throws his jab from his hip. I don't know. I guess he's trying to imitate Roy Jones Jr. But Logan, like the first fight, made the fight a lot harder. Now, Logan did get a knockdown with a sneaky little uppercut on the inside against KSI. But he got the knockdown. It was scored a knockdown. But for some reason, the referee took away 2 points for hitting while he was down. I could see 1 point. And I honestly thought that fight should have been a draw. But KSI got the win. Like I said, Logan Paul has all the attributes and the tools to beat KSI, but he couldn't put it together. So, honestly, KSI outwilled him in a lot of areas in both of those fights, which made it closer than what it should have been. Now let's talk about Jake Paul and his previous fights. Jake Paul fought Digi, someone who was my height, 5'8", a lot smaller, and, it was a lot of back and forth action. Jake ended up stopping him in the 5th round. Jake, unlike his brother, does not neglect the body. He goes to the body. He sets his punches up. He's a lot more patient, and he's more strategic. What Jake does wrong, as a taller fighter, he fights short. He's front foot heavy. And he bends down lower than what he should to give the shorter opponent a better advantage at shooting off and connecting shots. So stop being so front foot heavy, Jakey Poo. You're a tall fighter. Fight tall. Especially when you got 2 or 3 inches on your opponent. Why are you leaning forward and not fighting tall? He has a great jab, a great straight 1-2, and a great check hook. And he's in decent shape. And he does not neglect the body. I think technically he's a lot better than Logan. And I think he hits harder than Logan. But when you look at Digi and you look at KSI, KSI is a much better opponent than Digi was. Now, Jake Paul's second fight was against Gibb. Gibb was no freaking... He was no competition. I could have beat Gibb. I literally could have beat... I could have beat Digi also. I'm just going to be honest. I believe I could have beat both those fighters. But I don't take anything away from Jake because I saw what Jake does, man. Jake is... He's technically sound, man. I mean, he has a lot of work to do, but he has to get off that front foot. He doesn't neglect the body, and he's a very, very smart fighter. He's strategic, and he's patient. And he punches hard. But he has to start fighting taller. He really does. So when I put the two together, KSI with his tenacity, and the fact that he can actually fight 6 rounds, and the fact that he has heart, I mean, it could cause a problem for Jake, but technically I think Jake is just a better fighter. I think he's more strategic. He's not going to neglect the body. And I think he can pull out either a unanimous decision or possibly get KSI out of there. But KSI does have a beard. He took some shots from Logan. But Logan wasn't putting all that big body into his punches like his brother does. So, would it be a competitive fight? Yes, I really think it would be. You know, I think it'd be very competitive. But I think Jake Paul would have the advantage and a slight edge over KSI. But if you bend down low to the shorter KSI, being front foot heavy like you did your other 2 opponents, you might be in for a rude awakening. So if Jake fixes a couple of things, fine-tunes a couple of things, I see him being KSI relatively easy. Competitive, but relatively easy. I know a lot of YouTubers don't talk about these types of fights. I'm not afraid to, because honestly, a fight is a fight. A boxing match to me is a boxing match. And being a former boxer myself, amateur boxer, I appreciate it all. I really do. And I wouldn't mind jumping in the ring if I got in better shape. I've been losing some weight, y'all. My diet has completely changed. I'm a lot healthier than I was 4 months ago. But man, I would love to do something like that myself. It'd be fun. But listen, all of this is my unprofessional opinion. Are you interested in this fight? Are you interested in Jake Paul's fight that's coming up November 28th against Nate Robinson? Because I am. It's going to be a slaughterhouse in my opinion. And maybe they can set up with something with KSI the next time around. So it'll be KSI versus Jake Paul. I, for one, want to see it. But never mind my opinion. What about your opinion, man? Comment below, let me know. And hey, listen, I'm going to be out for a couple of days, 2 or 3 days. I got some dental work I got to go get done. I've gotten to the age where some of my teeth just ain't holding up. I'm going to get my bottom front row, the 4 teeth pulled completely out of my head. And somewhere down the line, I'm going to be getting a partial. Your boy Real Talk is getting old, y'all. So if I'm absent for about 2 or 3 days, that's why, okay? I want to keep you guys informed. As always, respect all, fear none, God bless. Real Talk Boxing, baby. We out.